All right, guys, day 26, and today's topic is called it's called the magical transformation of mistakes into blessings, or magically transform your mistakes into blessings. This one was deep for me today, and it was really great, and I'm really excited to share this with you. Okay, so look, we're all human. We've all made mistakes, okay, and it's okay. Don't blame yourself for it. Don't hurt yourself out for it. Don't punish yourself or be so hard on yourself. Because think about it, when we look at little kids, when they first begin to walk or run or ride a bicycle, right? They're going to fall down and then they get back up and they keep going, right? So we don't punish them once they fall down, or we don't say, oh, you're never going to be able to get up again. We just know that's the process. Right? They fall down, they get back up, and we know that they're going to grow and they're going to learn and they're going to evolve and mature. So why are we so hard on ourselves as adults? Why is it we make a mistake and we don't, we punish ourselves, we blame ourselves, we say we're so stupid and we're not good enough, and all these things we put on ourselves when it's just a mistake? Own the mistake. We have to take responsibility and be accountable for our mistakes, but then move forward, right? Just, if we made a mistake, admit to it, own it, learn from it, and grow. Just like if you were a child learning how to walk or run or ride a bicycle. So today's lesson, okay, or today's exercise is pretty thought-provoking, and honestly, you really have to sit down and think and write these things out and reflect on it, and if you do, I promise you, you will definitely gain a new perspective. You'll feel better. You might even go through some emotions that you didn't know you had. That's what happened to me. So basically, here's how the exercise goes. Okay, so basically, you've made just choose one mistake that you've made. In the example that Rhonda Burns uses, she says getting pulled over. She was speeding and she got pulled over by a police officer and she got a ticket for speeding. So first of all, the first step is obviously she had to admit that she was not, following the speed limit. Two, then she had to, at first she was blaming the cop, for pulling her over and this and that. But in the end, she said, you know what, I was speeding, and she's, grateful that the police officer was just trying to protect, do his job and protect the community, and he didn't want her to hurt herself or anybody else. And she wrote out 10 things that she was grateful for getting this speeding ticket. Right? And she says, one of the things she says is that she's grateful to the police because if she's honest with herself, I was thinking about other things and wasn't concentrating on the road. Okay, fair enough, and that's right. Maybe we're texting or calling on the phone. That's, and we get pulled over for that. Don't blame the police officer for doing that. Just own it and say, hey, I might have hurt somebody. There's a lot of people. It's one text. Like, you can look away from the road and on your phone, and a huge accident can happen. People can get hurt, and God forbid they can die. So that is something to think about. So I was thinking, like, wow, what's, and a speeding ticket to me is not a huge mistake, but I was thinking about my own life, and I made a lot of mistakes, trust me. And the one that kind of came up for me to work on, and I've never really shared this openly or publicly, but it was about 5.5 years ago when I first started dating Bridget, and I think it was like 2 or 3 months into it, and I was a much different person back then. I used to party a lot. I was drinking and getting high a lot. I had just started to turn my life around, and I had met Bridget, and things were going great. And I was doing my healing stuff, and it was really good. And one night I went out with some friends, and then I came home, and I was hanging out with a female friend, and I made the mistake of cheating on Bridget, who was my girlfriend at the time. And I remember I was so consumed with guilt and shame the next day that I told her. And sure enough, she was very upset. We broke up for a while. And I just thought it was like, oh, that's the end, and there I go, did it again, ruined it, sabotaged another relationship. And I was really depressed, and I thought, wow, how is this mistake, I was thinking, man, this mistake is not good, this is horrible. And now that I look back at it, it was actually a blessing in disguise, because because of that happening, I learned a lot, not only about relationships and love that Bridget has taught me, but also about myself. And one of the first things is I'm blessed that I was able to have the courage to be vulnerable and actually tell her what happened, right? Secondly, I did, we had to rebuild our relationship. Long story short, we ended up not talking for a while, and then we started talking to each other again, and we had to rebuild from, the trust was just obliterated, just destroyed. So we had to rebuild from that, and that was a blessing in disguise, but very, very, very hard. And I learned so much. Like, another thing I was really grateful for is that she taught me what unconditional love is, or what true, authentic love is, because I always thought that, infidelity or adultery, that was the end. That's the end, right? That's just the end. That's a deal breaker. Done. We're not happening again. And I owned up to that. And I said, yeah, it's not going to happen. We're not going to be together anymore. And it was, I had accepted that. But through talking, we became friends, and we started rebuilding our relationship, and we ended up getting back together, and now we're married. So it was, that's a blessing in itself, right? But during that time, I grew so much, I evolved so much, I learned so much more about love and relationships and what it means to be in a monogamous relationship. And it was, I learned about love and forgiveness. Like I said earlier, the whole adultery thing, I thought that was the end of it, but she was able to forgive me and to work on our relationship. And through that, the next few years, don't get me wrong, we had a lot of arguments and debates and fights and all of it, right? But because of where we started, we were able to work through everything. We were able to communicate with each other. We were able to share our feelings. Before, we just hold everything in. Now we share our feelings. We communicate honestly how we feel. And inevitably, we are always willing to work things out. And that's what's really made our relationship strong. And, one of the biggest blessings, I have to say, is that just this morning, it happened as I was writing all the things that this mistake, how it transformed into a blessing, is that it hit me, 5.5 years after this incident of me cheating on her. I just realized how lucky and blessed I am to have such an amazing, honest, loving, caring person in my life. And not only in my life, but as my wife. And that's truly a blessing right there. And I have so much love and so much gratitude for her and to her. And to myself, too, for working on this. And I never thought I'd get married or, commit to one person in my entire life. It's just, it happened, and I'm very grateful that it did. And I've also learned that, no matter what happens, because I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but I do know this, that I will always have a place in my heart for her. And that's just, to me, that's beautiful. To me, that's just awesome. And you know what? That's basically my mistake that I made, but I'm so grateful that it happened because I learned so much from it about love, about relationships, about working and connecting with people. And I don't know what else to say except that. So thank you guys for watching. Sorry this one was a little bit longer, but I just really wanted to share that story with you guys. So go ahead and think of a mistake. It doesn't have to be as huge as what I did, but it could be something small, and just, own it and see what blessings do you have. ask yourself these two questions. What did I learn from the mistake? And what are the good things that came out of that mistake? All right? Go ahead, do that, and I'll catch you in the next video. We're actually, I think there's only a couple more days left, and thank you guys for following me on this journey. See you in the next one. Take care.